Imagine this. The situation in your country keeps getting worse. The economy is in danger. The health system, the education system is not working. And then, worst of all, the security of the country is also in danger.
And so you decide to come to Canada and you start doing your research. After doing research, you put in your application. And then you start waiting, anxiously checking your phone every day and every other day, just waiting to get a response. One day you see that a response has come in your email. You rush to your computer, put it on. You check your IRCC account, looking for the approval, and what you can see is a refusal. You can't believe it. Your heart is broken. After all your hard work, your visa has been refused. So study visa refusals do happen, even to the best of us. But like I always say, it is not the end of the world. You can still get your study visa approved even after you've gotten a refusal. Take myself, for example. I was refused a study visa the first time I applied to come study in Canada. But yes, it was painful, but I went ahead and addressed the reasons why I was refused, and the second time I did get an approval. So even though you might cry and it might be painful, you can still get an approval the second or even the third time. So in this video, we're going to be addressing the 5 best reasons or the 5 most common reasons why you might get your Canada study visa approved, and I'm going to show you how you can actually address those 5 reasons if you get any of them, so that your visa is approved the second time. So the 5 reasons that we're going to be addressing today are: 1, you haven't shown a genuine intention to study in Canada. 2, you haven't shown that you have enough finances to finance yourself or any family members that will be coming with you. Number 3 is that you haven't shown an intention to return to your country after your study period. That means you haven't shown home ties. Number 4 is that there is no logical connection between your education and your previous studies and career, and even your future career. And number 5 is that you have a long study gap that you haven't been able to explain. So I'm going to go ahead and address these 5 reasons and show you how you can address them so that your study visa is approved the second time or the next time that you apply. When you're applying to come and study in Canada, you need to show the visa officer and demonstrate your intention to come and study in Canada. And the best way that you can do this is by including a letter of explanation or a statement of purpose with your application. Now, this letter of explanation or statement of purpose need to show the visa officer logically why you are coming to study at this time. Now, some of us who are coming to study might even have gotten to a stage in our life where we have a steady career, or we have a family, we have a business, we have ties to our home country. So the visa officer is wondering, why now? Why are you coming to study now? How will this benefit you or your career or your business? You have to show the visa officer using your letter of explanation why this is going to be profitable to you, how this is going to positively affect your career or your business, and how when you come back home, you have so many things that you're going to do with the education and the skills and the knowledge that you're going to gain by studying in Canada. The second reason is your ability to finance yourself or any family members that are coming with you. Now, money is very important, whether we like it or not. A visa officer doesn't want you to come to Canada, and because you don't have enough money, you stop studying or you get into other practices that might be harmful to other residents in Canada. So you have to actually show the money. And when it comes to showing the money, you need to do more than just have that money in your bank account. The visa officer has to understand the source of the funds. They have to believe that those funds are going to be available for you, especially when you have used a sponsor who has power over the money more than you do. That is why the visa officer usually asks for a 4 to 6 months bank statement. They want to actually look at the history of your account or the history of your sponsor's account. So if you do not show enough finances for yourself or any accompanying family members, then that is a red flag to the visa officer and they are likely to refuse your application. Now, this becomes even more important when you're applying with family. Don't forget that you also have to show living expenses for any family members that are coming with you. And you also have to show that you have enough funds for that first year of study and living expenses, and then prove to the visa officer that there's a place where money is going to come to pay for the second year or subsequent years of study. If a visa officer is not convinced that you have enough money to sponsor yourself or to finance your studies and living expenses in Canada, they are going to refuse your application. So make sure that you're showing the money, you're explaining the source of the funds, and if you have a sponsor or someone else who is sending that money to you, also explain your relationship with them, why they are sponsoring you, and the source of their funds as well. The third reason why you might be refused is that you have not shown the visa officer that you intend to return to your country of residence or your home country after your studies. And how do you do this? You did not show them any strong home ties. Now, this is especially important for those who are coming to Canada with their families. The visa officer needs to see that you have enough ties back home that are going to drag you back, especially since you're applying with your family. You have to show them that there are other things. Maybe you have a business, maybe you have parents that are sickly and that you might have to come and look after, or maybe there's a job that is waiting for you back home, or you have investments, or you belong to several organizations that you're going to go back to. If the visa officer is not convinced that there are any ties back home, both family ties, business ties, association ties, or whatever kind of ties, or maybe a job waiting for you back home, if they don't see those ties, they will believe that you have no intention of returning back to your country after your study. And like I said, the best way to address it is to show them clearly the ties that you have back home. Your parents, your siblings, your spouse and your children, a business, a job, associations that you have back home, properties in terms of land and houses. If you have any building projects or any projects that you're going to come back to, let the visa officer see this. When they see this, they will know that there are ties back home that will drag you back. But if a visa officer cannot see anything, they will just look at your application as a bunch of papers and say that this person is just looking for a way to enter Canada and stay in Canada, and you have no intention of going back. And then I need to say something. In your letter of explanation or in your SOP, never ever mention that you have no intention of going back. State it very clearly so that the visa officer understands that you have every intention of returning back to your country after your studies. Now, at this point, it doesn't matter whether there are programs in Canada that wants to make you stay back after your studies. There's your post-graduation work permit. There are also permanent residence routes. But the visa officer that is processing this knows that this is a temporary resident visa, and you need to prove that you're returning back to your country after your studies. If there are no proof of this, I'm sorry, it's a red flag, and the visa officer might go ahead and refuse your application. The number 4 reason why you might be refused a Canada study visa is that there's no logical connection between program you're coming to study and your previous studies and or previous career, or there's even no connection to the career that you want to do going forward. Now, I always say that any program you're applying to in Canada must be something that connects or aligns with something you've done in your past, either your previous study or something you've done in the past. For example, if you went ahead and studied biology, but you've been working in the bank, then when you want to apply for studies, it has to be something related to your biology. It can be anything in the biological sciences, or you're coming to study a program like a business program that is connected to banking. Now, you might hear people saying nursing is a great course in Canada, or they're talking about engineering, and you think that just because other people say that that's an easy route, or it's a program that sells, or it's something that's easy for you to get jobs, doesn't mean that you apply to that. If a visa officer does not see any logical connection between your study and what you studied in the past, they are likely to refuse you. So you need to be sure that whatever you're coming to study in Canada is connected to something you're doing in the past. And also in your letter of explanation, show the visa officer how what you're coming to study will help your career in the future. How is this going to help you get a job when you come back to your country? Or what are the prospects for you, so that the visa officer is seeing that your studies, there's a reason why you're coming to study, and that the monies that you're going to spend that you're actually going to get value for it at the end of the day. Don't forget that as international students, you're going to be paying a lot of money to study in Canada, and the visa officer wants to see that this is actually a good investment for you because the studies are actually for you. If you would like help in choosing a course of study and you don't know what to do, then go ahead and check out this link. We have a program where we actually help people and show them how they can choose a program of study. And we also have a step-by-step guide that can show you how to choose programs in Canada, how to get your admission in Canada, and also how to get your visa approved. So go ahead and click this site and get all the details. And if you've gotten value so far, please click the subscribe button and the notification button so you always get notifications when we post new videos. Now, the number 5 reason why you might be refused a study visa is that you have a long study gap. Now, this is a problem that is particular to some aspects of people in certain countries, because some of us were coming back to school, were maybe 35 years old, 40, or above 30. And you know, a visa officer might be wondering, why are you coming to study now? I mean, you've not been in school for 10 years, for 12 years, or even for 15 years or more. A visa officer might not be convinced that you're coming to study. So if you have a long study gap that is longer than 5 years, then the onus is on you to explain to the visa officer why you're coming to study now. Because the question in their minds as they are going through your application is, why now? Why now? So since you now know that the visa officer is thinking, why now? You have to provide the answer to that question so that it answers that question in their mind as they are asking it. Because really, if you were a visa officer, wouldn't you wonder, why is this person coming back to school now? So especially if the program that you're coming to study in Canada is easily available in your own country. A visa officer is wondering, oh, if you wanted to do an MBA, why are you not doing it in your country? Why are you coming to Canada to do this program that you could have done in your country or done in any other country? So you need to explain why you're coming to do this program in Canada and why you're coming to do it now. What are the prospects for you back home, or what is it going to do for your business or for your career at this time in your life? If your study gap is too long and the visa officer is not convinced that you're actually genuinely coming to Canada to study, they would think that you just want to use this as an escape route to enter Canada and that you will actually not study, but abandon your studies and go and look for something else to do, thereby disobeying your visa and the conditions of the visa that brought you into Canada. So you have to show the visa officer clearly that even though I have this study gap, this is the reason why I've come to study. Now, we have so many people in the Niger to Canada JAPA system who have come to Canada to study, and they're in their 40s, 50s, and even more. They were able to clearly show the visa officer why they're coming to study now. Some of them have businesses that they want to take global. Some of them have careers that they want to take to the next level. Maybe they want to become middle management staff, or they would want to become top management staff. And they have seen that their companies are promoting people who have education from Canada or who have education from abroad. If you can get the statistics of that and show it on paper, then a visa officer would believe that, wow, I can see now why this person actually wants to come and study. If you don't do that, a visa officer might refuse your visa and you have to start all over again. Now, if you look down on this channel, you will see some videos that have addressed the issue of how to choose a course of study in Canada. I invite you to watch that video so that you can know how to choose a course that actually aligns with your background in terms of what you've done in the past, either what you've studied or something that you've worked at, and how you can use that program to explain in your letter of explanation why you're coming to study in Canada. So today we have addressed the 5 most common reasons that I think are the strongest reasons why people are refused study visas in Canada and how you can address them. So if you got a study visa refusal, it's heartbreaking, I know, but don't give up. Look at it. If it's any of these 5 reasons, address it in your next refusal reason. Now, there's one thing I need to mention. If you get a refusal letter from RCC, that refusal letter is usually a template. It will be advisable to you to actually order your GCMS note. The GCMS note will give you the details of why you were refused. So that's where the visa officer will write their notes that is an extension of what they wrote in the refusal note. So then you can understand why you were refused and the things that you can actually address when you're reapplying, because you can actually reapply and get approved. So many people have reapplied and they've gotten approval. So I hope you did get value with this video. I'm going to make a follow-up to talk about other reasons why people might be refused and how you can address them. And also we're going to be looking at certain case studies so that you can learn from people. If you got any value from this, please click the like button, also click the subscribe button, and click the notification button as well so that you can always know when we post new videos, because we're always doing that. Once more, thank you so much for staying with me till this end. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.